Well, hi Katie. So, an introduction to life in the shop. Now, I hope you're ready. I hope you're sitting down, you've got a cup of tea, maybe you got your popcorn ready for this thrilling movie. First of all, I'll introduce you to a bit of the background scenery. So, here's my shelves where I have got all the bowls. To make it easy to find bowls of different notes, I have labelled my shelves with some stickers that I actually had already lying around because they were stuck on Tibetan singing, not Tibetan bowls, on crystal bowls. So each shelf has got bowls of different notes. I got my A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all there. I got the drawers of tuning forks here. I've got lots of boxes, including some recycled boxes that the reason why they're all sort of not flat packed is because they've just arrived in the post, and I thought, yeah, I'll use those. All my mallets here. Basically everything is to hand there. And so I'm going to do a basic introduction to packing, and we're going to go to the other side of the shop, walking along, one step actually, but there you go. Here we have the packing table. Now, hang on a second, we have an emergency here. The cat is out in the rain. Come on, Mittens. So, also in the shop, hello Noisy, is a cat bed. It's very professional. He does usually sit on his bed and stays out the way. Yes, you're a very lovely pussy. Right, as I was saying, this is going to be a cracking film, isn't it? As I was saying, we're now going to pack, first of all, a level 1 kit. So, items in the kit: unweighted, Hobby tuners, and a mallet. The mallets come in 2 sizes. The difference is really only a couple of centimetres. When you buy mallets, I usually get asked, do you want the long ones or the short ones? You can see there, not much difference. I get half and half. But for the level 1 kits, I tend to put the longer ones in because they're quite nice for tapping bowls as well as tuning forks. So we got the tuning fork part of the order, an egg shaker, and a bowl. Now, most of the kits I sell, hang on, just getting any dust out of this one, are going to be about 7 inches, around about 1 kilo in weight, and the ones about 1 kilo are in the category on the shop called heavier bowl. So before I send everything out, I do give the bowl a little test just to make sure it's easy to play. Most of the bowls that come from Amit, nearly all of them play really well because he does test them before he sends them out. Occasionally I get one that I think isn't brilliant. What I do with that, I tend to sell it at a reduced price. You'll notice on the shop there's a bargain bowl page which I just alter each time. Not the picture because they all look the same, but I just say what the size is. Maybe it's great to tap but not good on the rim, that sort of thing. But generally everything plays well. But I always make sure if it's going out in a level 1 kit, it's got to be something that people haven't got to sort of angle it and spend ages getting a note. So that's what's going to go in the kit. The note of the bowl has got a little label that it comes actually from Amit with these on. And mostly they're pretty accurate, but mostly they relate more to the rim note than the tap note. I do always put a little piece of paper inside which tells people the note when tapped and the note when singing if it's different. It only has 1 note if it's the same, of course. But that's because if people are then going to build a bowl trio later, if they go on to level 2, they do know what the tapped note is. Right, so that's what's going to go in the box. So what I do is I do package up the tuning fork separately to the bowl, and I usually use bubble wrap, unless I've just had a load of stuff from Amit which comes in. I told you about this stuff. This foam wrap, which is also really good for wrapping up your bits and bobs. So I've got a great big box of this which I'm recycling, massive box down there. So basically all I'm going to do is put a little bit of protection around the tuning forks. I've got my tape dispensers here. Now, if you haven't got tape dispensers, do get them, because it saves time and faffing. And that's what you want. You don't want to spend ages trying to sort of get your bits of tape out, cut it up. There we are. So that's wrapped. The wand itself, I don't actually bother to wrap. This little egg shaker, I put a bit of padding around it, because what I'm going to do is put it inside the bowl. And again, this stuff, I'll call it foam wrap, because I don't know, it's probably got a proper name. Well, it might be foam wrap. Anyway, I'm going to just put a little strip of that round it. These things are pretty tough, but I did have one get broken once where it wasn't inside the bowl, and I don't know quite how it managed to break because they're really tough, but it did. Now that just goes in there, and then I'm going to put a bit of bubble wrap around the bowl.
Oh, hang on. Can't see what you're doing. Can
Sorry.
you get back to it?
I'm using this one here, has got big bubbles, which I quite like for the bowls. I just estimate something, a square that's bigger than the bowl, because what I'm going to do, put the bowl in, take the diagonals across. You can do it either this way and then bring those two in, or you can do it that way if you've got it slightly bigger than I've cut it. But this is the easiest way I find. Just cross over the two corners, a little bit of tape to hold it, cross over the other two corners, little bit of tape to hold it. Then you got to make your box. Now these are the size I recommended for level 1 kits. The boxes I buy, they have an obvious bottom bit which has got advertising for the packaging company on. So I start by making the bottom of the box. Just fold the sides in. To stop it doing sideways slants like this, which is really easy to do, what I do, I have just a little bit of tape like that, square it up using my body.
There's different tape you're using there, right?
I'm using just...
It's thicker.
It's wider.
Wider, yeah,
not thicker. It's wider tape.
Mm-hmm.
Just something to catch it in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do the same at the ends to get it nice and square. I think if you get it really square, it means the box has got better integrity and it will hold more. And I also bought some of this tape. It's a slightly thicker, wider kind of tape. You can use any of these. You could use a thick, wider sellotape or parcel tape. Whoops, sorry, bowl. Or something like this. There's lots of companies selling this kind of, it's sold as eco tape because it's based more on paper, but it's quite thick and it makes a nice seal at the bottom, and I like the look of that. Now this box is one of those that's described as a variable depth box. So what it's got inside is a groove to make the box smaller. Now I'm not quite sure if the ones that you have bought are vari depth, but if they are, I know that this will be fine on its slightly lower depth. And so I'm just going to snip. It's about an inch around the side, which means when I fold this in, when I make the box, it's smaller, like that. I use a little bit of packaging at the bottom, and I know you've ordered one of these. So I make just put a bit in the bottom. It's like making a nest for your bowl. Bowl goes in, tuning forks and mallet. What I do find is they go nicely down the side. The wand, I just put in down the side there. And then what I'm going to do is add a little bit more of this void fill paper down the sides. 1 and 2, like so. The only other thing I would put in there now is an invoice. Now, this one isn't actually a sold kit at the moment, so I'm not going to seal the box up. But when I do, I'll be folding in the sides, folding over the top, like this. A little piece of sellotape will just hold that. And then I'll tape it across there, and I'll put a return address label on, one of these, or something similar. And my courier label or post office label will go on that. As this one isn't actually going to be sold immediately, what I'm going to do, and if you're doing this, it's a good idea, if you've got a bit of time to do some pre-packing, it saves a lot of time on days when you're going to be posting out. I'm just going to make a note here that this is a level 1 kit. It's a heavyweight bowl, so I'm writing heavy, and I'm just going to pin that to there, because when somebody buys this kit, sometimes people add in the odd thing to it, and you certainly have to put their invoice in, so I don't actually seal it up. So I then just put that to one side till it's ready to go. So that's my quick way of doing a level 1 kit.